I started reading it while I was working at a startup, and I kind of was an intern there, and I was a little bit bored and had some time on my hand, and so I started reading this book and I was blown away, and I immediately wanted to tell everyone about it. Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. My name is Kat and I'm a product manager living in Berlin, and today I'm going to share some of my favorite product management resources with you, which are all free and which I wish I had discovered earlier, because product management as a role sounds like it entails so much, and at the same time you don't really have a focus. So when I first started studying it, I was completely overwhelmed and I wondered, okay, what does a product manager do all day, every day? I have no clue. And so I turned to the internet, as you do, and I found some amazing resources, and I'd love to share them with you. Most of them, I will say, are ebooks, good old ebooks. They're nothing crazy, not a big course or anything. They're just ebooks produced by companies who are doing amazing, incredible jobs at building digital products. And yeah, I think we'll just go through the list. Some of them are very product specific, some of them are more kind of surrounding product management and surrounding the other areas that you need to know about. But all of them are great and they're all free, which is the most important thing. This is not sponsored. I just found all of these resources by myself. I'm not getting paid to share these with you. I just want to help you out, and I just think that it can really help you, especially if you're beginning your product management career, to just pick up at least one of these resources, have a read, and just start implementing what you learn right away. And I think that's the best way to learn, to be honest. So the first resource I want to share with you is called Intercom on Starting Up. And this is not specifically about product management, it's more about business in general. But it is so helpful. It's like a hyper crash course in business for you. Well, I started reading it while I was working at a startup, and I kind of was an intern there, and I was a little bit bored and had some time on my hand, and so I started reading this book and I was blown away, and I immediately wanted to tell everyone about it. And essentially it goes into all of the things that you have to do when you're starting up a business, which is, okay, who is my customer? How do I market this thing that I'm actually building? How do I make sure people still love what I'm building going forward into the future? How do I actually build a great culture? And yeah, how do I achieve growth? All of these little topics are touched in this book, and yeah, I cannot recommend it more. Then the second book, which is also mostly focused on business, is called Business Model Generation. And this book goes into various different business models and approaches of building your product, building your business. And I think as a product manager, you have to be sometimes very creative on how your product can be packaged, how it can be sold to people. And there are so many different ways to do so. And I think this book really helps to dive into the nitty-gritty of, different business models and how you can approach them yourself and how you can try them out. And I would just have a little project that you have on the side while you're actually reading this book, because then you can really implement all the stuff that you're learning at the same time, and you'll just get so much more from this book. I use this book a lot when I was studying and working on my own digital products, and I was just figuring things out, and it just really helped me. So I can totally recommend this book. And I think it's especially handy if you're building a new product, but I can also think about ways of this being helpful when you're already in a company with an existing product, and just like helping you think much more creatively. Okay, and the third resource is the only resource that's actually not an ebook. It's more a number of canvases, as they call it. They're created by Strategizer, that's the company's name. And they essentially, so one of the canvases I recommend the most, it's called the Value Proposition Canvas, and it really helps you to put together and map out the value proposition of your product, how it's unique to different competitors, how you stand out, how you're actually going to produce value for your customer. All of these different questions are addressed in this canvas, and it just makes it really helpful and easy for you to visualize all of that. Okay, so now let's dive into a bit more general product management books. There are quite a number of good ones out there. The first one is called The Product Book by Digital Product School, and it is literally a book on how to become a great product manager. So it covers everything from even starting, okay, what is a product manager? What are you supposed to do in the role of a product manager? How do you define your product, what it is? How do you identify problems? How do you do like customer research, how do you communicate with engineers and designers, how do you communicate with stakeholders. All of these different things that you're going to have to do as a product manager are covered in this book. Super helpful, and yeah, it's one of my favorite books that I've read on product management. Then the next resource is also quite a specific one. It's called Product Roadmaps by Product Plan, and this is a tool that helps you to build roadmaps as a product manager, but they also have amazing free resources, and that is one of them. And a roadmap is essentially the foundation of all of the things that you're going to be working on and building on as a product manager throughout the year or throughout the quartile, depending on how you plan. But it is a thing that is going to kind of accompany you throughout your whole product journey. Without a product roadmap, it's very hard to really get anything done. And I know some people are more flexible with it, others are more rigid with it, but either way, it's super helpful to know how to build and put together a proper roadmap, and then also how to communicate with others, because that is actually almost the most important part, is to communicate it with all the stakeholders within the company or outside of the company, and to get them to also understand why you put certain things on the roadmap. And this book really goes into all of these topics, and yeah, I can definitely recommend it. And now to my favorite book. It's called Intercom on Product Management. It is written by people working at Intercom, which is, I don't know if you know it, but it is a tool, like a messaging tool, B2B tool, and they're very successful. They've built a really great product, and they have some really incredible resources, including a blog, which I sometimes read, and this book and several other books, like the first one that I recommended. This one is really going into the essentials of product management. So it goes into, okay, how do you evaluate the product that you are currently working with? So this is really great if you're jumping into an existing company with a running product and you don't really know how to start. But this book will teach you what to do. So first it goes into, okay, how do you evaluate the product? Then it helps you to identify things that you can improve. Then it goes into how do you communicate with stakeholders. It also then goes into, okay, how do you actually specifically build features that people are going to use and that customers will love. And it really just is very short and to the point, and it also has great illustrations in there, and I like it because it really just dives into the most important essential topics. So I think if you're going to read one book, I totally recommend this, especially if you're new to product management, but it can also help you if you're already a product manager. I'm currently rereading it again, and yeah, there's so many things in there which I'm like, okay, I need to do this. Like in my job, I need to implement these things. I don't want to say I highly recommend it, but I do highly recommend it. And the first, or the seventh resource that I would recommend is called When Coffee and Kale Compete. I love the title, I have to say, it is a great one. And you will know what it's meant by the title once you start reading the book. But essentially it's all about the jobs to be done theory. If you haven't heard of it before, the concept of it is that all of the customers that use your product use it because they want to get a specific job done. A job could be anything, like they want to, find love, or they want to apply for a new job, for example. That's why they might be using LinkedIn. All of these different things are jobs that people want to get done, and essentially the book talks about how do you create a product that taps into the jobs that customers came to do. Really great one, totally recommend it. It talks a lot about customer needs, a lot about psychology, a lot about doing lots of research and experiments, and I think it's really essential for product managers to understand this concept. And the final book that I recommend, book number 8, is called The Field Guide to Human-Centered Design. And this one really dives into user research, how to do it properly, how to learn about the customers or potential customers of your product, how to really identify the needs, and how to do that using different resources and different methods. So especially qualitative methods like diary studies, interviews, all of these different things. And then it also talks about how you can then evaluate it, cluster all of your learnings, and then also come up with different ideas of what a possible solution for the problems that you've discovered could be. And this is essentially what a product manager has to do, especially in the discovery phases of any sort of product, whether you're building a product in an existing company or you're building a complete new product from scratch. like you're in a startup or you're building your own product, this is going to be super helpful, and it's going to be a very, very important skill. And I've noted in a lot of companies it can be a little bit hard to apply it, and it might not always be the resources or the time for it, at least I find that in the companies that I've worked in. But having this mindset and trying your best to always integrate it into your daily work as a product manager is going to be so, so helpful, and it's really going to help you to build much greater products. So yeah, that was the last resource. I really hope that some of these resources helped you and that you learned something from this video, and at least you can pick up one resource and maybe the one that resonated the most with you, and have a read and see how you can implement it already. And then let me know in the comments below how you found it, and maybe you've also already read one of the resources, also let me know. And what are your favorite resources? I know that there's like hundreds upon hundreds of resources out there, so many courses, blogs, etc. And I always love to learn and develop myself as a product manager, of course. And even though I don't always have the time now, I spend most of the time actually just doing stuff and learning as I'm doing it, but still reading things are always helpful to just remind myself of the concept. So yeah, if you have any great resources, please let me know, and also share them among each other. I think we can all help each other out here with our collective knowledge. And I think then we can all become better product managers together. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and give it a big like if you liked it, and then I will see you in the next one. Bye.